Now, imagine if you had in your life a friend or a coworker or an uncle, somebody in your family who made promises to you, things that you were going to count on. And then, time and time again, that person broke their promise to you. Well, that would be bad. It would be worse if they made it seem like one, they hadn't made the promise in the first place, and two, tried to gaslight you into thinking that as well, that they completely denied not just your version of events, but reality. How willing would you be to continue to trust that person, to continue to trust that person's version of events? I'm guessing you wouldn't be willing at all. And yet, here we are, 10 years into this insanity, allowing Donald Trump to rewrite reality and essentially telling us that we need to bend to his version of events, even though they're almost always entirely fictional. That is not tenable. And yet, tens of millions of Americans continue to fall for it, continue to allow this serial liar, this person who has nothing but his own self-interest in mind, to change the rules, to rewrite their version of reality, which then, of course, only allows him to continue getting away with lying to us all of the time, but more consequentially, allows him to get away with not taking responsibility for anything, leaving us with this question: who then is responsible? If the president of the United States is responsible for nothing that happens in this country or to this country, who, after all, is in charge? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this evening's episode of Mary Trump Live. It is great to have you here. Let's get right to it. So, Donald announced that ceasefire negotiations between Russia and Ukraine would commence immediately following today's 2-hour call with his buddy Vladimir Putin. And he went on his his failing social media platform to say, quote, Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war, unquote. But once again, Donald overpromised on the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which he has been doing for years. And as I've said, this is something that people keep falling for, because it turns out the Kremlin declined to support the United States' proposed 30-day unconditional ceasefire, which Ukraine had already agreed to. And it was reported to be the main objective of the call by the White House. Putin also suggested that Russia's maximalist objective in fighting the war in Ukraine remained unchanged. So I just want to be clear what that means. Russia wants to make sure that in any deal, they get to keep whatever they've already stolen from Ukraine. Also, I think that a not so hidden agenda of Putin and the Kremlin is to take the entire country of Ukraine for its own. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke with Donald twice today and tweeted about it in part, writing, quote, I reaffirmed to Donald that Ukraine is ready for a full and unconditional ceasefire, as has spoken about, particularly the United States. It is important not to dilute this proposal. If the Russians are not ready to stop the killings, there must be stronger sanctions. Pressure on Russia will push it toward real peace. This is obvious to everyone around the world, unquote. This is all coming in the wake of Russia's having carried out near nightly drone attacks on civilians in Ukraine, Russia wants Ukraine to surrender, which Ukraine says it's completely unacceptable, as it should be. Leaders from Britain, France, Germany, and Italy fear that Putin is not taking peace talks seriously and told Donald that if things don't progress, sanctions on Russia should be put into place. But after communications, Donald said, and this should shock us, this should horrify us. I'm guessing it will do neither of those things for many people. Donald said he's actually going to be stepping back from negotiations, stating that the condition of the deal could only be determined by the quote unquote warring parties. Okay. During the campaign of the 2024 presidential election, Donald promised the American people that on day one, he would end the war in Ukraine. Now, to be fair, he did not give us specifics because nobody ever asked him for any, right? Like, it's all baked in, so why even bother? But here's the thing. He wasn't talking about day one of his new administration on January 20th, 2025. He was talking about the day one of the transition. So, in other words, the day after the 2024 election was called. What's happened since then? Well, a lot of innocent Ukrainians have lost their lives because Russia, the aggressor, Russia, that started this illegal war, Russia, the country that has been committing war crimes against the Ukrainian people, has continued its siege of our ally, our democratic ally, Ukraine, unabated, because Donald is clearly beholden to Vladimir Putin in many ways. But perhaps more significantly in this instance, Donald is incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. He understands neither diplomacy nor statecraft. And he seems deeply confused by who is the aggrieved party here. He has been trying to both sides a war in which one party is clearly our ally and the other is clearly our enemy. There is no holding Vladimir Putin accountable by Donald Trump, therefore by the United States of America. That's where we are. And now, to make all of it worse, thanks to Donald Trump and his screwed up allegiances, the United States of America will no longer take any interest or have any role in negotiating a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And that continues to be a massive tragedy. I just want to ask you, please, to take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast, rate and follow it. New Jersey Transit's first statewide rail strike in over 40 years concluded Sunday night with a tentative agreement between the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen and New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy was pleased to announce that agreement was made on Sunday night. Watch this.
They have poured hour after countless hour into reaching an agreement that is both fair to NJ Transit's employees while also being affordable for our state's commuters and taxpayers. And they have proven once again why New Jersey is the quintessential organized labor state. Even in the midst of a seemingly intractable situation, Chris and his colleagues never gave up on providing our locomotive engineers the raises they have earned, while also ensuring that our public transit system remains accessible and affordable.
The 3-day walkout disrupted service for approximately 350,000 commuters a day, and that's according to New Jersey Transit, leaving thousands of people scrambling to get to work across the river in Manhattan. This was primarily over wages for engineers who had a starting hourly wage of $39.78 an hour based on the contract that expired over 5 years ago. This is well below rates for Amtrak, SEPTA, Long Island Railroad, and the PATH. The proposed agreement, now pending ratification by both the union's 450 members and the New Jersey Transit Board on June 11th, includes a wage hike surpassing a previously rejected offer. This is a great win for working Americans, especially in the context of the horrific economy that is getting worse by the day. Everything is getting more expensive, for American consumers and for their families. So it also reminds us how very, very important it is, one, to have unions, and two, to have people in positions of power in our government who support unions. Moving on to the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. In a brief, unsigned order issued Monday, said illegitimate, corrupt supermajority allowed the Trump regime to revoke temporary protected status for approximately 350,000 Venezuelans, potentially clearing the way for mass deportations. ABC News has more here on what this really means.
The Supreme Court giving the Trump administration the green light to terminate temporary protected status for about 350,000 Venezuelans. That means no more protection from deportation and allowing them to work legally in the U.S. Lawyers representing the government argue a lower court decision undermined the executive branch and its authority over immigration and foreign affairs, and the conservative majority on the court agreed. Our immigration reporter and producer, Armando Garcia, joining me now. So these protections, they're over. So what comes next? Can they still appeal, or are deportations coming now?
Look, that's exactly what 350,000 Venezuelans are asking themselves right at this moment. They're asking whether or not am I still here in this country legally, and perhaps most importantly for their families, am I still able to work legally in this country and provide for my family? They don't know. And we got to remember that on the way out the door, the Biden administration chose to extend TPS protections for Venezuelans. When the Trump administration came into office, they eliminated that extension. That meant suddenly that hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans who thought they were going to be protected from deportation, who thought that they were going to be able to work legally in this country until October 2026, some of them lost their status in April. Others are set to lose their status in September. Right now, I'm sure they're wondering what exactly comes next.
There is no reason given for this order. Immigrant advocates warn that this is the largest single removal of legal protections for non-citizens in modern U.S. history, with immediate humanitarian and economic consequences. Now, it's worth pointing out that though the order was unsigned, we know that the only justice who dissented was Ketanji Brown Jackson. That doesn't mean we know who actually wrote it or anything else. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. But there's a reason that groups of people are given temporary protected status. You know, the Biden administration didn't extend these protections for the fun of it. People who apply and are granted such protection are facing serious threats in their home countries, whether because of political issues, corrupt, violent governments, gang violence, as we've seen with El Salvadoran immigrants, or natural disasters. There are all sorts of reasons. Sorry, I just want to clarify something, that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only justice who publicly dissented. So again, it's unclear. The other 8 justices, we don't know how they ruled, but clearly the majority of them ruled to withdraw the protections from the Venezuelans, which is seriously problematic and is only going to make it easier for the Trump regime to enact its cruel policies. However, we also just have to remember that the court just overruled Donald's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport some migrants. So, as usual, the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court is making things less clear by the day. More news in media. CBS News president and CEO Wendy McMahon abruptly resigned today. In a memo to staff, she wrote in part, quote, "It's become clear that the company and I do not agree on the path forward. It's time for me to move on and for this organization to move forward with new leadership," unquote. This comes as CBS News' parent company, Paramount, considers settling Donald's $20 billion lawsuit over a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. As a reminder, this lawsuit is flimsy at best. It is the sort of platonic ideal of the frivolous lawsuit, which there is literally no way in the world Paramount would have lost. But insiders say there's major pressure from Paramount to resolve the lawsuit and in order to secure FCC approval for its merger with Skydance Media, because that approval hinges on the Trump regime's favor. That's where we are now. Now, McMahon, along with the recently departed 60 Minutes executive producer Bill Owens, had opposed the settlement, warning that it would compromise journalistic independence. And they were warning us of this because that's exactly what's going to happen. Paramount is choosing being beholden to the Trump regime over journalistic integrity. Now, this is nothing new with corporate media, but it shows us the dangers of allowing media to be consolidated under so few corporations that the news arms of these corporations no longer seem to have any independence at all. Because clearly there is a deepening crisis over editorial autonomy in the Trump regime when we most need editorial autonomy. So while it's amazing and important that people like McMahon go public with their resignations and the reasons for them, it's not enough. Because apparently we live in a country now in which caving in to unreasonable demands in order to make more money is more important than journalism or journalistic truth or journalistic accuracy. And just remember why this is happening. Paramount wants to merge with another corporation to become bigger and more influential, and Donald Trump and his regime have the final say here. All because, and this is an issue, all because Donald Trump is a thin-skinned baby who couldn't handle the fact that Kamala Harris came across looking better in an interview than he did. And he made up some grievance about how 60 Minutes doctored a video, which is absurd. And then, because he's over the top drama queen, he sued 60 Minutes and CBS for $20 billion. If you start from that number, what do you think the settlement's going to look like? So, in my view, this is a bribe. Paramount is bribing Donald Trump so that he will support their merger, which will, again, pave the way for Paramount to become a bigger, more powerful, more lucrative corporation, while once again, they hang their journalists out to dry and threaten the future of journalism for all of us. Which means that we need an emotional support moment. Because it's Monday, and Mondays are tough now. Mondays are like the new Friday, actually. You know, there's always just so much going on. It's really good. It is Monday. Just want to make sure. Okay, so for today's ESM, we have a story of a very special animal. His name is Milo. And Milo is a dog who may have saved his owner's life when he sensed something wrong at home and he alerted the neighbors. So I want you guys to watch this report from CBS affiliate KREM2 News out of Spokane. I know I'm saying, is it Spokane? I don't know. I always say it wrong. So I apologize to the residents of Spokane, Washington. Check it out.
Tonight, a man is thankful for his dog after he says the dog saved his life. And now, for the first time, we are hearing from that man.
Last Tuesday started out routine for Chris Totter and his wife, Stephanie. Chris opened the door to let his dogs play outside.
Good boy, Milo.
Less than an hour later, Stephanie was at work and her neighbor texted an audio message of Milo barking. That bark was alerting people that something was wrong.
But I could kind of hear the distress in Milo's. It scared me.
Stephanie tried to get a hold of Chris.
Like I said, I called him a half a dozen times and just nothing. And so I kind of got, that eerie feeling. And
she rushed home.
Milo, like I said, circled my car, led me right up here to the bed. Chris was here laying on the bed. If I hadn't gotten here by the time that I did, it would have been probably 4 more hours that Chris would have been unconscious.
Chris has diabetes. He says doctors think he collapsed because of high blood sugar. If their dog didn't alert their neighbor, Chris says he might not even be alive right now.
Extremely grateful. You know, I know I'm here because Milo did what he did. Love him even more.
He's a good boy.
He is a very good boy. And we should all have a Milo, whether a dog or cat or turtle or dolphin or hedgehog or whatever. Actually, no, nobody should have nobody should have a dolphin. But you know what I'm saying? We should all have a Milo in some mammalian form or other. Hey, it could be a goldfish. Whatever works. Anyway, thanks, Milo. You rock. Okay, time for your questions and comments and fees, because that's a new category of thing that we must mention. Speaking of which, Donna, thank you so very much for that, as always. I like this. Fee for not paying a fee this week, fee. Cool. I didn't know that was a thing, but awesome. Okay. Barking Justice Music. Thanks so very much for that. Question. Dr. Trump, as a clinical psychologist who has written extensively about natural trauma, how do you see music and storytelling functioning as tools for individual and collective healing? I am so glad you asked that question. I love this question. This is very important to me. I'm going to talk about art in general, but yes, music, of course, is very important. And art of all kinds, you know, whether it's storytelling or music or painting or poetry, what have you. It's everything. Like I think that it is the whole point of us, right? As the most, in some ways, I should say, the most evolved species. It's sort of incumbent upon us to develop those skills we have to connect with other human beings and to make the world a more beautiful place and to explain our place in it. And I'm not suggesting art has to be beautiful. Art can be challenging. Art can be difficult. I understand that. I'm just saying that the point of art in some ways is to connect us with each other more, to help us make sense of the world, the universe, who we are. And we now live in a time in which the arts are under assault because we are, we are at the mercy of people who embrace ideologies like fascism, and fascism and authoritarianism thrive by throttling human beings' creative impulses. So I think it's, and this is I think a truism. Fascism kills art. By the same token, and I'm kind of paraphrasing what he got through here, art kills fascism. We cannot remain human in the best sense of that word without art. Also, music connects people in a particular way because it's shared more easily. And the same is true of narrative storytelling. And that's when, and I don't really want to talk about politics so much, but I do think it's worth noting that one of the things Democrats have to get much better at is telling the story of how we got here as a country, and telling the story about how we can get to a better place. By the same token, if our artists can come together and share their music and their narratives about who we are and how we can be better and how we can move through the world in ways that enrich all of us, yeah, I think that will lead to a lot of individual and collective healing, which is why I think it is important to share art with other people, but also to take time out which a lot of us don't do, to experience art, to to tap into our own creative impulses. You don't have to be great at drawing or writing or, I don't know, knitting, right? In order to create. Just engaging in that very human impulse is itself meaningful and potentially healing. So we all have to do that for ourselves, for sure, because we're living through in very difficult times right now. It can't all be about the struggle and the fight all the time, right? Sometimes it's just about remembering why we're here and what actually is meaningful and why the fight matters. And for me, one of the reasons the fight matters is because we have to protect the best things about ourselves, which we are losing. So anyway, that's my take. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Ghostly R59, thank you as always. Like this one. Donald free comment fee. More of those. I listened to your interview with Martina Navratilova. Oh, wow. That was a long time ago. I think that was like back in 2021 or something. Anyway, as U.S. national figure skater in the 90s myself and as a female athlete, she was someone I looked up to. So rad you got to talk politics with her. Yeah, I grew up watching tennis. I mean, back then, like, we literally just were able to watch the Grand Slams. Like, there was no tennis channel. And Chris Evert was my favorite player. Like, she was the main player when I started watching as a kid. And then Martina Navratilova came on the scene, and I was still a Chris Evert person, but, I watched the rivalry, which remains the greatest rivalry in all of sport, honestly. I also watched their relationship evolve. I watched how they each made each other better and challenged each other in ways they would not have been challenged otherwise. Like Navratilova's game changed in a lot of ways. Chris Evert changed the way she trained. It was fascinating to watch. So she's somebody I always admired. Have to be honest, I have serious issues with her attitude towards trans people. I don't understand them. But that I'm going to leave that aside for the moment because we're talking about something else right now. So yes, it was, when I spoke to her, I was not aware of the other stuff. But again, I think that there is a lot to admire about her career, and she was very brave when she came out and when she got she asked for asylum in the United States. And as you can imagine, this was in the late 70s and 80s. There was not a lot of tolerance for out gay women anywhere. So yeah, she was a pivotal figure in tennis, certainly, but in all of sport. So that was was fascinating. And I think it was it was a long time ago, but I remember thinking it was a great conversation. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. So thank you. Regina, thank you so much as always. Oh, look, I missed the weekend broadcast penalty. Well, guess what? You can still go back and watch everything because the internet is forever. But thank you for the fee. Much appreciated. Just a reminder, guys, we have videos dropping all weekend long. Go watch them. Vicky Feedback, thank you very, very much for that. Oh, a mental health fee because Donald and JD Vance are both pieces of shit. Yeah. I cannot dispute this finding. Just me in the house. Thank you so very much. As always, celebrating Hachi's 15th birthday fee. You can teach an old dog new tricks, and they may even come up with a few of their own. Happy birthday, Hachi. That's awesome. 15, that's an accomplishment for a puppy. Nice. And thank you. Lizzie Beth, thank you so much. Comment, insurance to keep cats off 2 new grapevines. I didn't know that was a thing. Are there grapevine cats? Wow. See, cats can do anything. When you put the grapes in the vat, do the cats like crush them? I don't know. It's like an I Love Lucy episode. Sorry. You probably wouldn't want cats doing that. Anyway, Rose Blue, thank you so much. TTL. I don't know if it's a bull or a horse, but I think bullshit. I don't know. I do know what TTL means. Hold on. I don't. I mean, I do, but I can't remember. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna figure this out somehow. I don't know. Loves my dogs a lot. Thank you so much for that. As always. Oh, comment. My golden retriever is contributing some of her allowance to your kitty treat jar. That's fascinating. I didn't know dogs got allowances. Don't tell Cap and Lyndon, because then I'm going to have to start giving them allowances and it's never going to end. But thank you, golden retriever. And it's really nice that the dogs are looking out to make sure that the Mary Trump Media Kitten Kindle has treats. Awesome. Another one, Mary, thank you very much for another kit treats fee. Oh, wow. 4 cats. All right. That would mean 2 more. I'll get in trouble. I'm willing to. Jana, thank you so very much. Comment, dropping some gratitude. It's been a rough week of being sick and some PTSD issues beating me down. So your content has been a crutch. Thanks for being there and your perspective. Well, I'm glad that it's helping, because trust me, I can relate and empathize. So, we're always grateful when what we do helps make things a little easier for everybody. Nanner, thank you so very much. As the newest member on her birthday, I request Beagle puppy emotional support one day. All right, we're on it. Beagles are cool. I love beagles. They're adorable. Yeah, consider it done. Thank you for sure. Oh, look. There you are. New member. Love it. Greg, thank you so much. Question. How on earth do they expect to deport 350,000 people? Yeah, how on earth do they? Because remember, we couldn't possibly have that many trials. But sure, we can deport them, no problem. I think it's important to remember that so much of this is performative. I'm not saying they aren't going to try, but I think sometimes they just need to do some percentage of that number to send that message that everybody needs to be really afraid, because they're just going to keep. And you know what? If they don't deport them, that doesn't mean these people are off the hook, that they may well just be shoved in a jail somewhere. So whatever it is, it's going to be bad. Gulyu from Substack asks, but will the neighbors hear my turtle bark? I don't know. Will they? Do you have insulation? What kind of drywall do you have? Plaster? Anyway, I didn't know turtles barked. So I think it depends on how soundproof your walls are, and also how loud is the turtle bark, and how big is your turtle, and how good do your neighbors have good hearing. So I couldn't possibly answer that, but for your sake, I hope the turtle doesn't bark too loudly, because I'm guessing that could be challenging. Stacy 3107, thank you so much, Stacy. Oh, look, a Kitten Kindle toy fee. See, treats and toys. Kittens like toys. I mean, generally, like kittens become cats, and then suddenly, next thing you know, you have all these really cool cat toys, and they just want the empty box. But kittens, yeah, they get it. Caroline, awesome. Great to see you. Thank you so much for that comment. Thank you, Mary, Mercedes, and moderators. You're welcome, and thank you so much. It's fantastic. Charlton, question. What's wrong with your cousin, Don Jr., Mary? Well, one, he's never worked an honest day in his life. There's that. That'll lead to some arrested development. Two, he keeps trying to win the love and respect of a man who neither loves nor respects him. And three, he's a terrible, 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 terrible person. Bad combination of things. Oh, and he's very, 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 very weak. You think Donald's weak? His kids? Well, his two oldest sons? I didn't know it was possible to be as weak as they are, but here we are. Go Trump family. Question. Was Marcel Duchamp's urinal art? I'm going to answer your question this way. I don't know if you guys remember, but I don't remember the details. It was quite a long time ago, like maybe 20 years or more. There was an exhibit at a museum in a, not like a major city like New York, but a not very small city, but I think it was in the Midwest. And the photographs of Robert Mapplethorpe were being exhibited. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Mapplethorpe, but he was a brilliant, brilliant photographer. And I mean, seriously, his work is stunningly beautiful. A lot of it is borders on the pornographic, right? Depending on your perspective or your point of view. Now, somebody sued the museum to shut down the exhibit because they believed it was pornographic and unacceptable and should not be available for the public to view. So there was a trial, and at the trial, the defense, which was the museum exhibiting Robert Mapplethorpe's brilliant work, called art historians and art experts. And what they did is they explained to the jury why Robert Mapplethorpe's photographs were art. They were speaking as experts in their field to explain to lay people essentially what makes art. Why is something art? And because this was a long time ago, people still believed in the value of expertise. The jury found in favor of the museum because they said afterwards, people who know such things, actual experts, explain to us why it's art. We might not like it. It may not be our thing. It may even offend us. But we're not experts. We are not in a position to make such determinations. So that's my answer. Also, just a reminder, art is meant to challenge us and push boundaries. It's not meant to comfort us or make us complacent. And it's okay to like art that does those things. Like some of my favorite art is just art that I find comforting, that I find inviting and easy, right? But that's not the job of art in general. Chic, question. Will I ever stop being triggered by the YMCA song? No. Here's my hope for you, though. After Donald stops playing it incessantly, you will never hear it again. That's my hope for all of us. Deb, thank you so much, Deb. Save our sanity, SOS under the Trump regime fee. Love it. Cool. Yeah, I like that. SOS, save our sanity. Somebody, please. All right, got some people to thank. Oh, cool. We have some new members. Julia, welcome. Purpley one, another new member. Thank you so much. I'm trying to do this in order. Laura, another new member, and Maida, another new member. Thank you guys so much. That's fantastic. I love it. And I have some super stickers to thank too. Kendra, as always, thank you. Same thing to you. Dorothy, Pam, fantastic. Very generous of you. Rose, thank you as well. And I still don't what hang on. Let me see if I can intuit what it means. I do not. I still don't know what TTL means, but maybe it will come to me somehow. Oh yeah, talk to you later. No, that's TTYL. That's not it. That's all right. Maybe somebody will share with us in the chat. The new Paul, the XDDD, another super sticker. Thank you so much for that. And as always, Mariana, another super sticker. And John, also thank you as always. The new Paul, the XDDD, again, thank you very much. And Claire, Canadian in the house, elbows up, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay, quick thing I forgot to mention. Somebody asked me a question about, my pathetic cousin Donnie. We actually dropped a video today about that whole his tweet in the context of President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis and just sort of the fallout from that and just kind of what it means for the right. So definitely check that out. And again, as a reminder, we have videos dropping every day that you can check out at any time because they are always there. So, the simplest way to help us really is to watch our videos, like and share them, comment on them, all that stuff. And of course, our super stickers, people giving us gifts help us tremendously. And we now have paid YouTube memberships. So just make it clear, you can subscribe to our channel for free. That will always be the case. Subscribing to the channel costs nothing, and you will have access to all of the videos we place on our channel. So that will never change. However, if you want to support us in different ways, we have different membership levels. And every different level comes with perks. So please check those out. It's just at the top of the Mary Trump Media page. And it's really easy to become a paid subscriber. So please do check that out. I, as always, want to thank our mods, but today they're Deb and Susan, who do a fantastic job. So thanks to you. And of course, to my amazing team who knock it out of the park on a consistent basis, but did just a particularly awesome job today because, again, Mondays are crazy. And these guys just show up and just do the work that hopefully you all appreciate. So thanks, team. And that does it for us. Just actually a quick programming note. I am traveling to the UK on Wednesday morning, which is weird. International flights are usually late. So because of that and because of the 5-hour time difference, I'll be 5 hours later. There won't be a show, Mary Trump Live, at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're still working on the schedule, so we'll keep you all posted. But I will be back tomorrow night for Mary Trump Live at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have the nerds at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And of course, as I mentioned, we will have videos even when I'm away. We're going to have videos every single day. So keep your eyes open for those. And again, the best way to be alerted is to click on the bell icon. And that way you will know whenever a new video drops. And for those who are curious, I will be in London, I will be in Cambridge, I will be in Wales, and I will be in Scotland. So again, videos will be coming from over there. So don't worry, we'll have lots and lots of content and we'll keep you posted about the other stuff. So thanks everybody for being here. I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. for the nerds and tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for Mary Trump Live. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.